You exploring this comfort crisis idea really overlaps perfectly with this scarcity brain notion. Like they're very closely kind of intertwined with each other. So explain what the scarcity loop is and kind of how you became aware of this and interested enough that you thought it would provide the basis for a book.
Yeah. So the scarcity loop is basically a 3-part behavior loop that you can think of as like the serial killer of moderation, right? Because like everyone knows everything is fine in moderation. But then, all right.
Yeah, like we're terrible at that.
We're terrible
I'm the worst. You know, anybody who has any kind of addiction issues, you know, that is just not applicable.
Totally. So I get interested in that question. And, you know, I'm a journalist, so I'm just always observing the world. And when I see something that doesn't make sense, I go, well, how does that work? Right. So I live in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a strange town. Let me first say that.
We were chatting about that earlier. Like, I don't know how you do it, man. Like, I would just go out of my mind.
Well, if you're someone who likes to observe strange things, then hey, you found a town for.
Yeah, you're never going to run out
for
of.
Me, yeah.
To me, it's like the dark underbelly of the human machine.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, look, the town wasn't built on winners. Let's just say that, right? But so of all the strange things I see there, I've always thought the strangest was the slot machines because people just play them like forever. They will play them over and over and over, and they're all across town. They're in like the gas stations, the grocery stores, whatever. You know, I'll be filling up my car at like 7 a.m. and there's someone in the gas station playing a slot machine. And so I want to know how it works because it doesn't make any damn sense. Right? Everyone knows the house always wins. Like the town wouldn't exist if that weren't true. So long story short is that I talk to one person in the gaming industry who tells me to talk to another. You kind of go through this loop of people. And I end up at this casino on the edge of town in Vegas. It's brand new. It's cutting edge. It's got all the coolest stuff. But the wacky part is that it is not a fully open casino to the public. Like it's a real casino, but it's used entirely for human behavior research.
It's like a living, breathing Skinner box.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. I wish I would have used that line in the book. Damn,
you can borrow it.
Yeah,
just credit me. Go ahead.
I'm consulting you before my next book. So while I'm there, I talk to this guy who is a slot machine designer, and he teaches courses on how to design games and slot machines. And so he's kind of the savant about like how do you push people into more, right? This behavior they do over and over and over, despite knowing that they're probably going to lose in the long term. And slot machines work on that 3-part system called the scarcity loop. So it's got these 3 parts. It's got opportunity, it's got unpredictable rewards, and it's got quick repeatability. So with opportunity, it's like, you know you're going to get something of value at some point, right? This offers you an opportunity to get something good. So with the slot machine, it's money. Unpredictable rewards, you know you'll get that valuable thing at some point, but you don't know when, you don't know how valuable it's going to be. And then 3, quick repeatability, you can just repeat the behavior immediately, right? So think of a slot machine. It's like, I can win money. I play this game as the reels roll. I don't know if I'm going to lose the money. I might win a couple bucks off my dollar bet, or I might win like $2,000. It's a crazy range of outcomes. And then once the reels fall, I can immediately repeat that behavior. Now, this becomes really important. And this casino, it's not just funded by gambling companies. It's funded by a lot of other big tech companies. Because what you can learn from this system and other systems that are embedded in gambling can help you get people doing a lot of other irrational things over and over and over. So it's what makes social media work. It's what makes dating apps work. When it gets put into sports betting really climbs. When it gets put into financial apps, you start to see the use and frequency of financial apps go up. But, you know, in the book, I also argue been embedded in our food system. It's in so many different places today. And I think it's one of the key reasons you find that people today struggle with moderation because we have these places figuring this whole thing out. And by the way, like this system doesn't just hook humans, it hooks all animals. If you give animals a gambling game versus a game that's predictable, they will choose the game that mimics a slot machine and play it over and over and over.
It's really depressing and insidious, this. Yeah. But once you kind of understand this template, this 3-pronged thing, you can layer it on top of almost anything that you see out in the world. Like it really changes how you perceive your relationship with every app that you open on your phone or every TV commercial that you see. It is the digital version or the analog practical version of the right combination of salt, sugar, and fat in a certain food to light up your brain in a certain way that makes it impossible to just have one chip.
Oh, yeah, totally. And for me, it was, I go into this Skinner box, as you put it, and talk to this guy. And, I kind of learn about it. And as I'm leaving, he goes, it's a really powerful system, one. And two, by the way, it's not just in slot machines. I mean, it's in a lot of other places. And once I sort of see it, then you just start to go like, to your point, oh, holy hell. Like, this is what makes every app that I spend too much time on. It's what makes it work. And it's in so many different places now that I think, again, we have the deck stacked against us. But to your point, I think awareness is really important. So just being aware of a behavior often changes a behavior. And so knowing like, oh, this is why I'm spending so much time on this insert app or insert other behavior that falls into it, I think can change it.
Yeah, it's less about self-will, willpower, or your own kind of sense of weakness, and much more about just how powerful these tools are that override every best interest in your brain.
Yeah. The guy I mentioned before, Thomas Zental, so he's done some really interesting studies on animals and given them the option of playing games that get them more food but are predictable, or games that get them less food but are casino games, basically slot machines, and they will pick the slot machine game, like I mentioned. But I asked him, I'm like, okay, well, obviously this works on humans, or else, Facebook wouldn't be a company. Las Vegas wouldn't be a successful place. And you've proven that it also works on pigeons and all these different other animals. So why is that? And he says it probably tracks back to finding food in the past and how we evolved to find food. So if you think of finding food when food was scarce as we evolved, it's like you need food to survive, right? There's the opportunity to get food. But you don't know where the food is, and you don't know how much you're going to find. So you go to one place, it may not have food. You can go to another place, it might have, a couple berries, but fewer calories than it took you to burn to get them. You go to another place, nothing. You go to another place, and then bam, jackpot, right? That is like you have found a ton of food, and therefore you survive. And by the way, you have to repeat that game every single day. That's what your life is. So it's almost like our brain is almost quote unquote programmed to sort of fall into this thing because it was so important for our survival for all of time.
In the context of the slot machine, though, because that's sort of like the perfect machine to kind of understand this whole mechanism, there's so much interesting stuff to learn from that and understand about that then spills out into everything else. Like when the slot machine went from the handle that you pulled to a digital interface where you just push a button, like the stats went through the roof in terms of repeat use, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can say that big picture, the faster that you can repeat a behavior, the more likely you are to repeat a behavior. So industries know this. And in the case of the slot machine, if we take off the handle that takes a little bit of time to pull, they also tended to break. What ended up happening is games more than doubled, games per hour. So they went from 400 games an hour, a person would play on average, to about 900 games an hour. So just that speed, it's just boom, 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 boom. It's like, why the hell do you think we switched to infinite scroll?
Right. Infinite scrolling, autoplay on Netflix. I mean, just you name it. Every app has all of these things built into it. So all of these Silicon Valley barons are paying attention to what's happening in this casino and extracting, those nuggets and then building them into these apps that become irresistible. Yeah,
speed totally kills. I mean, to kind of break down where it lives in a couple places, it's like when you think of social media, it's like if you post, you have an opportunity for status, say, and then you post, and then the next time you fire up that app, the rewards are unpredictable, right? You could have, say, lost and no one liked your post, or someone said you look like an idiot in the comment section, or you could have won. You could have way more likes and comments than you've ever gotten. It's like, oh my God, I just won the Mega Millions jackpot of social media. And then you check and recheck that phone all the time, right? It's in the rise of sports betting. I mean, all gambling relies on this system. It's like you got an opportunity to win money, you place it on a game. But what's interesting about the quick repeatability in sports betting is that sports betting companies allowed people to start betting on in-game occurrences. So for example, is this team going to score on this drive? So you have this short period of time to make the bet. So, right. So it's like the faster we can get people to bet and have more opportunities to bet, the more money that we can make.